This is severe weather coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather. Coverage is powered by Southern Union State Community College, Alpha Insurance agent Jamie Dukas, the venue at 5 Points Farms, and by Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery in Wedowee. Brought to you in part by the Randolph County Commission, Heron's Tree Service, Southern Auction Solutions, Roger Bell Auto Brokers, Genesis Weight Clinic in Roanoke, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, Auction 431 South, Town of Wadley, and Bama Diesel Repair. From the Alpha Weather Center, here's Dr. Don.
Well, good evening, East Alabama and West Georgia. As promised, we're going to give you a little update this evening on what we're looking at weather-wise across Alabama and Georgia later on tonight and on your Tuesday. We're looking at this weather system back off to our west, and, this is going to be the first real threat of strong to severe weather that we have seen in several months across the area. And we don't anticipate this to be a red letter severe event across East Alabama or West Georgia, by no means. But since it's been quite some time since we've dealt with thunderstorms, actually an unusually long period of time with no severe weather threat, felt like it might be apropos to come on and talk to you a little bit this evening about what we anticipate and the timing of all of this and when we think all this will be over. And good news is it'll be done before we get into our Thanksgiving on Thursday, so that is good. But as we watch this system off to our west, understand it's going to be much stronger to our west than what we anticipate across East Alabama and West Georgia. We're looking at the radar at this hour, and we already have some pretty significant severe weather unfolding north of Lafayette, Louisiana. Also back up to the Jacksonville area, right along the Mississippi River. We have two tornado warnings that are in effect now, and severe thunderstorm warnings up there around Jacksonville. All this stuff is moving off to the east, northeast. So if you're south of Jacksonville or even in the Jackson, Mississippi, I should say, if you're in those areas, you need to be ready for the possibility of significant severe weather. And if you know anybody that lives over there in Jackson, Mississippi, you might want to give them a call and make sure they're clear on what's going on up there. And we'll zoom in a little bit closer for you to show you what we're talking about near Natchez, Louisiana. And then back up toward Vicksburg. That's where we see those big thunderstorms. And then we have another one that's just north of Alexandria. That entire line there, the National Weather Service pretty much issuing severe thunderstorm warnings. And then we have another tornado warning that's there just to the west of Harrisonburg. And that'll be moving off to the northeast. Again, that's back over in Louisiana and into Mississippi. So you can see the system is still a pretty good ways away from Alabama, especially East Alabama and West Georgia. We think the system will be in here probably by first thing tomorrow morning. Going to switch back over to the composite and take it off of the local radar so we can kind of see the big picture of what's happening here. I'm going to zoom all the way out. I mean, my goodness, look at that. This thing stretches all the way from Chicago, Illinois, all the way down to New Orleans, Louisiana. That's what we're looking at on the radar at this hour, with two distinct areas of possible severe weather. Those boxes you see flashing, we have tornado watches in effect in both of those areas, stretching from eastern Texas through Louisiana, and now almost all the way to the Alabama state line in the state of Mississippi. I would anticipate a new tornado watch to be issued probably coming up on 4:44 Central now, probably in the next hour or so. We would see a new tornado watch that'll probably get southwest Alabama and maybe over into west Alabama. But wouldn't anticipate anything like that in East Alabama or West Georgia until after midnight tonight, probably toward 2 or 3 a.m., if we go under a watch at all. Here's the deal, folks. The timing of when this is going to be coming into Alabama is going to actually benefit us because it's going to be moving in during the coolest part of the day, which is the overnight hours. So we're talking about much less surface-based instability across Alabama and Georgia than what we're seeing over in Mississippi and Louisiana. They've still got the heat of the day going on over there. When these storms move through Alabama and Georgia, it's going to be cooler because it's going to be happening during the overnight hours when there is no heating, so you don't have that much surface instability to work with. Sometimes storms can overcome that, though, and still remain strong, and we could see a handful of those storms as we go past midnight into 2, 3, 4 a.m. tomorrow morning, probably more likely right at sunrise across the extreme eastern counties of Alabama and the western counties of Georgia. So let me switch things here a bit, and we're going to go over and take a look at several graphics from the National Weather Service to kind of paint the picture of what we think is going to take place over the next 24 hours across the area. Don't forget to go over to our YouTube channel, hit subscribe, and also click that little bell so that if we do go live to cover severe weather, you'll be guaranteed to get that notification. So here we go. This is the overall severe storm possibility across the state of Alabama. You'll see the slight risk category stretches from near Tuscaloosa down to just south of Clanton, over to about Auburn, and then on over into Harris County in West Georgia. South of that line is where the best opportunity will be for strong to severe thunderstorms, to include possible tornadoes and damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour. Along that line and north, or those areas you see shaded in green, such as Birmingham, Clanton, Alexander City, Lafayette, Ashland, Roanoke, Heard County up there at Franklin, over into Troup County at LaGrange. Those areas are in the marginal risk of severe weather. Not to downplay this setup, because you can certainly have severe weather when you're under a marginal risk, but the threat is not as great there in the green as it will be in the yellow. And damaging winds of up to 60 miles per hour and a brief spin-up tornado will be possible in those green shaded areas as well. So the best timing we're looking at here, 11 p.m. this evening over in the western side of the state, and then moving into East Alabama probably somewhere between 4 and 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and then exiting East Alabama probably by around 7 a.m. All this stuff will be over with in places like Roanoke, Alexander City, and down into Lee County in the Auburn-Opelika area. So let's talk about some of the specifics here as we look at what could take place during this severe weather outbreak. We're looking at thunderstorm risk. This would be tonight over on the western side of the state, and you see the elevated risk will be from Tuscaloosa down to Demopolis, with a limited risk from Hamilton to Birmingham down to Montgomery. And then as we look at during the day on Tuesday, that risk will shift on over into central Alabama and southeast Alabama. Most of our coverage area will be looking at just a limited risk of severe weather, and that would be in the early morning hours of tomorrow, with the better chances, the elevated risk being basically from Clanton down to Auburn south, or south of the I-85 corridor. Tornado risk. There is a tornado risk with this storm system because of the gradient that's going to set up across East Alabama and West Georgia. Heck, it's going to be windy whether we have thunderstorms or not, and that's because of veering in the atmosphere and the pressure gradient that's going to be taking place across the area. So there is a tornado risk here, though it's limited. From Hamilton down to Birmingham, over to probably Rockford, and then down to Montgomery. This is tonight after midnight, and then over in West Alabama stands the best chance with an elevated risk. Looking at the tornado risk later in the day tomorrow, up until around noontime, there is a limited risk across East Alabama and West Georgia, and again, an elevated risk basically from the I-85 corridor south. Again, folks, I don't anticipate this being a red letter tornado outbreak type of event. But hey, it only takes one tornado in your neighborhood to be that kind of day. So there is that chance we could see one or two tornadoes tomorrow. So we've got to pay attention to this just in case we do get some tornadic activity taking place. We're seeing that happen back over in Mississippi and Louisiana right now. Though again, that they have a lot more instability to work with over there than these storms are going to have over here once they arrive in our area. Wind advisory is in effect. And again, we're going to see winds gusting 15, 20, maybe as high as 40 miles per hour, even away from thunderstorms. So it's going to be windy regardless of whether you get a severe thunderstorm or not. So make sure all those Christmas decorations you guys who started putting out, make sure the Alabama State bird, the trampoline, is tied down. Make sure that you don't have anything in your yard that's going to end up in your neighbor's yard. Again, it's going to be windy regardless of whether you see any severe weather at your house or not. Here's the wind risk. It's limited across the entire state for this evening, and then tomorrow we see a limited risk across East Alabama and West Georgia. Thunderstorm. These are winds from thunderstorms, totally different from the gradient winds that we're going to see. So thunderstorm risk, again, just like the tornado risk, will be best in central and west Alabama tonight, and then across east and southeast Alabama on your Tuesday. That extends on over into West Georgia as well. Hail risk, doesn't seem to be much of a hail risk with this storm system, but look at that. There's going to be a tremendous amount of lightning with this system because we expect the rain rates to be so high. That's what causes friction in the clouds, and that's where the lightning comes from. And, of course, that's where the thunder comes from. So a significant risk of lightning. Wind, sustained non-thunderstorm wind and dangerous lightning may be the two biggest threats from this storm system, generally speaking, for the entire area this evening and again tomorrow. So a tremendous amount of lightning is going to be possible with this storm system across East Alabama and West Georgia. And then looking at tomorrow up until around noon, you see that significant risk of lightning continues across East Alabama and West Georgia. Looking at the excessive rainfall possibilities, if we're going to see excessive rainfall, it would across West Alabama and Central Alabama. That would be tonight. And then tomorrow up until around noon or shortly after noon, it would be in East Alabama and West Georgia. Keep in mind, you're going to have a main line of storms move through right at daybreak in East Alabama and West Georgia. That's where the severe weather threat would be. Once it pushes through, rain is going to linger for several hours, but the severe threat will end. So the severe threat's only going to last maybe 30, 45 minutes as that main line moves in. And then after that, it's just going to be a cold, raw, windy, wet day across East Alabama and West Georgia. So there you go. That's a look at the severe weather possibilities across East Alabama and West Georgia as we head into the overnight and early tomorrow morning. I'll be watching this system very closely. And, of course, if we see that conditions warrant going live to cover severe weather, then we will certainly be here with you on Dr. Don's Weather. Thanks to all the fine folks you have seen scrolling on the screen and to our partners that you see on the screen now, Southern Union State Community College, Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery, also 5 Points Farms. We appreciate those folks making all of this possible. Also, I want to show you, because if you live in Randolph County, I want to show you something. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well. It's DSTRN 1040. We broadcast all of our weather information on Twitter, just as we do on Facebook and YouTube. So there's HyperReach. You need to text the word alert to 256-540-8664. Again, that's 256-540-8664. If you live in Randolph County, and you can actually do it even if you don't live in Randolph County. If you have someone who lives there and you want to keep up with what's going on in Randolph County, you can use their address and text the word alert and set it up. It's called HyperReach. You're going to be able to get important information from the Randolph County Emergency Management Agency. It's brought to you by Randolph County Commission. So be sure that you take care of that. And we will continue to watch all of this for you, and we'll be back with more weather information. Again, a very quick summary. We do expect the possibility of severe weather well after midnight tonight, probably toward daybreak. You will have a line of thunderstorms move through East Alabama and West Georgia, probably between about 4:30 and 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. And then after that, it's going to be a cold, raw, windy day. We're going to watch this real close, and if we think it is necessary to bring you more severe weather information, we'll come right back and continue with our live coverage here on Dr. Don's Weather.
This has been severe weather coverage for East Alabama and West Georgia from Dr. Don's Weather. Coverage is powered by Southern Union State Community College, Boondocks Barbecue and Creamery in Wedowee, Alpha Insurance Agent Jamie Dukas, and The Venue at 5 Points Farms. Brought to you in part by the Randolph County Commission, Heron's Tree Service, Southern Auction Solutions, Roger Bell Auto Brokers, Genesis Weight Clinic in Roanoke, Jimmy Stevens Construction, Anchor Roofing, Auction 431 South, Town of Wadley, and Bama Diesel Repair. We will continue to monitor weather conditions and return with the latest information as conditions warrant. This is Dr. Don's Weather.